Welcome to Yes, I Am the Veteran, hosted by Brandy Pet.
Welcome, everybody. It's me, Brandy P, with the Yes, I Am the Veteran podcast, and I am joined by my lovely co-host, the, for some reason, muted from Sentinel Collective, Miss Amelia Peacock, and the 6-time Emmy Award-winning filmmaker, Pacifica. Hey, ladies. So, how's your last week been?
It's been a blur of a week, but I was very productive, so I'm happy. And
that's good.
Can't ask for more.
I would have to concur. That's a good overview.
You
know. So is Lucy still?
That was nice.
Well, that's good. So is Lucy growing her fur back a little bit, or is she still pretty patchy?
I was gonna pick her up and show her to everybody, but if she trots in here before the end of the night, I'll pick her up. But she's got little baby fur, peach fuzzies, and she still very much has a butchered haircut. But
well, she had surgery, so that's right. Fair.
No, she's doing so much better. I'm so proud of that little girl.
Good. I'm glad. It's been an interesting week of doctor's appointments. I think I've made 3 doctors laugh this week pretty hard. So my job was done. But I know we went to the Denim and Diamonds luncheon with the Women Veteran Calendar. Amelia, it was a good time, right?
I had a fantastic time. They always do such good events, and I love the work that they do as an organization and what they're able to put together for all of our sisters to come together and just have a really great time.
Absolutely. And it was so nice to see Nicole Jordan from Women Veterans Glamping again, and seeing the ladies of the Women Veteran Calendar, and the Jacqueline Smith Foundation. I mean, there were so many organizations that were there to support, and that's what it's about, right? I really love that about being an advocate.
Women Veteran, or Sharon with the Women Veterans from Texas Veterans Commission.
Yes. Yep. You can't forget Sharon. I was sitting right next to her.
I love that she was there. She had a great setup.
Yes. And we definitely need to have Texas Veterans on once again, because we've had claims representatives on before to talk about different issues impacting males as well as females, and the importance of like nomenclature and things like that. And so I definitely think that we're a bit overdue. So if any of you listening have a specific question that you would like asked, like VA claim related, we're not experts. However, we will ask an expert, of course, on the show. But if you have any questions, submit them to our podcast on our Facebook and our Instagram pages, and we will add it to the list. Who knows? You might get your question answered. And so speaking of ladies of the Women's Veterans Calendar, our guest tonight is a former guest, and she's also Miss November from the Women Veteran Calendar, and she is currently she ran for Miss Veteran America. That's actually how we kind of connected, was actually through that. And since then, she has claimed title after title, and I'm so proud of her and all of that she's doing. And so please let me introduce Miss Transcontinental Universe and City Councilwoman Krendra Harralson. If I could do it. Hey, sis, how are you doing?
Good. Hello, everybody. How are you?
We're here.
Doing fantastic. It's been a long week, but I am excited. It's been a productive week, and we had a great time this week, and it was always great to see you again. And so I would just like to jump in real quick. First and foremost, because we're all military here, former military. So what branch were you in? And please reintroduce yourself to us a little bit and tell us a little about who you are.
I am Dr. Krendra Harralson. I am retired Army combat medic. I did time in both the National Guard and active duty. And I retired here in San Antonio. I am a doctor. I received an honorary doctorate of philosophy and humanities, and I am on my way to finishing my dissertation in healthcare administration. I'm an elected official for the city of Garden Ridge and love being a community advocate in that sense. And I'm also, as Brandy said, Miss Transcontinental Universe, where I advocate for homeless women veterans and their children, as well as those affected by intimate and domestic partner violence.
Awesome. Well, that's kind of a mouthful, sis, and that's not even a fraction of what you do with your time. I know your secrets to keeping up your energy. That's a lot of miles ran.
I am, B12, making sure my B12 and my vitamin D are up is really important. And I want you to know, even though I'm doing all of that, I get good naps in there.
Here you go. It's like scheduling nap time.
Yes.
I hated them as a kid. I cherish them now.
Yes.
Right?
It's pure gold.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
I don't know. Whenever I take naps, I wake up crazy. I don't know. Oh my God.
No, what? How do you keep up with it? That's like, all right, so you could have gone in any direction, and any one of those things is like a full-time job. Like, how do you have time? Like, why make time to be a veteran advocate, and why, and how, like, how does that fit in your life?
So being a veteran advocate is very, very important to me and very sensitive to me, because my transition out of the military was not great. I had, I was dealing with the loss of my grandmother, who was a big part of my life. And then I was sick. I had really bad migraines. I suffer from fibromyalgia, and I was in a dark spot. And although my husband was also a military retiree, I didn't quite feel like anybody knew what I was going through. And there were times that I would go to the doctor, I'd go to, the VA, and my primary care providers, my specialists were not, good to me at all. And my husband, I would come home and I'd be so just depressed and exasperated, trying to tell my husband some of the things that had taken place. And at first I was getting down on myself because I was like, well, it can't be everybody else. It's got to be me. And so my husband decided that he was going to start going with me to my doctor's appointments. And when his mind was blown, he was just like, I've never experienced somebody being treated this way in a system that's supposed to take care of you. And so he started using his voice to advocate for me. And so I feel like now that I'm on my feet and I'm stable and I'm strong, there are so many people out there that have wonderful experiences with the VA and with TRICARE and post-military with all their things. And I don't want to ever take away from that. But there are people out there that were like me. They were lost in the loss of identity, the trying to figure out who you are, the new roles that you play in society, in your community. And then on top of trying to maneuver a world that is new to you or you're being reacquainted with, just felt so lost. And those people needed a voice. And I feel like, I used to get in trouble all the time when I was a kid for talking too much. So why not use that superpower now?
I like that superpower. Yeah. I was always told you better be a lawyer because you argue all the time.
Why did she do it in Jack Nicholson's voice?
Right.
Right. I was thinking the same thing.
I got candy getting the van.
I have voices for family members, so we can get into that later, but
Oh, Pacific, I love you.
thank you.
Never a dull moment.
And so, sis, I know that there's a lot of misconceptions in the pageant community that a lot of people, they don't realize are really misconceptions. What would you say are what's a common misconception about pageants or competitions that you have been in?
So we were briefly talking about this a little bit backstage, but one of the misconceptions is that women in pageantry are just doll babies. They're there to be looked at, and they don't understand that a lot of these women that are out there in the pageant world aren't just throwing themselves out there to be judged. You know, there are platforms, and to build a platform is not just an overnight thing. When you are out there using your voice, these pageant queens, some of these pageant queens are some of the most educated, intelligent women that I've ever met. And they have strong and powerful voices that they're using out in the community for good things, bringing awareness to all kinds of things, whether it's veteran homelessness, mental health, diabetes. What did we just met? Leah is not a pageant queen, but just think about the, what was she talking about?
Eating disorders,
eating disorders, right? So there's so many things to bring awareness to, and these women are so educated. The other thing that is a really right up there neck and neck with that is that women who compete in pageantry are always on and always looking for the spotlight. And I feel like that does a disservice to us, whether it's in the veteran community, the civilian community. We're not always on, you know what I mean? Yes, we're on stage, and yes, we compete on stage, but ultimately, most of us get into pageantry for the sisterhood, the camaraderie. And so I think that some people, when they are approaching us or we approach them in dialogue, there seems to be this, you know, are we competing for something? Are we not competing for something? Is she just saying this because the cameras are on? Like, they don't always realize that we're still real people. We're still human. We're still kind, and we're not always competing.
What I found interesting about pageantry, the winners become ambassadors of sorts. And you do a lot of public speaking in real time, meeting people, and you can't be a fake person and be successful for that. And the winner, they're not going to pick a winner that can't do those things.
Right. Being authentically myself is so important, because one, I can't pretend to be me, because man, that's a hard feat by itself. I'm glad I don't have to pretend and that it just comes natural. But there are, you know, there are queen chasers. Unfortunately, there are people out there that are out there for the crown, and they collect them, and those crowns collect dust. I'm a queen's queen. I'm a sisterhood queen. You know, I'm always there for my other sisters when I can be. I like to put my crown to work. I like people to understand, you know, what it is that I stand for out there. Because let me tell you, if I was just going to chase the crown, I wouldn't have got up in a bathing suit on stage to be judged all that time. So I would have just done it the easy way.
It's not an easy thing, and it's definitely hard. I mean, it's
especially to go up in a swimsuit out on stage. Like that's a lot of positive self-talk. Like, I mean, for me, it'd be like that ending part in the substance. People would be like, oh,
stop it.
I'd lace the leg, and everything, and I'd be like, I'd do like an extra T, like man. Be like, look at all the zippers. Let's make
my prehensile tail would send everybody off. So.
Especially if you like, you know, like wet a little bit, you know.
Anyway,
I'm going to be that one, and I'm just going to say, I think that we would all rock it regardless.
That's right.
Because it doesn't, honestly, like, at the end of the day, we all look great in a bathing suit as long as we're having fun.
Right. And it's the confidence. You know, Nobody can take away from who you are. At the end of the day, God made you. You were uniquely and wonderfully made, and be you. Enjoy you. If you can't enjoy you, nobody else is either. So
Absolutely.
That I love
Very well
that.
said, sis.
Oh, well, I mean, wow, very, very well said. And so that leads me right to my next question, because I heard you mention earlier, and you've shared this with me, but you're a city councilwoman, and you said for the town of
the city of Garden Ridge,
City of
Texas.
Garden Ridge. Thank you. And so tell me about your journey, not just for the title holder, but also becoming a city councilwoman. Like, what inspired you to stand up in Garden Ridge and say, hey, I'm going to take a position here where I can help the community?
So I will say, I will roll it back, rewind a little bit. When I enrolled to St. Mary's School of Law, on your letter of intent, they ask you what you want to do. What are you going to use your degree for? And so, in my letter of intent, one of the things that I stated was that I wanted to run for office, and that I wanted to use my degree to write healthcare legislation to help break down some of the barriers and to reduce disparities within our healthcare system. Because as we know, although Texas is not on the very, very bottom of the totem, it's not far, right? And so, I will say that pageantry gave me my voice back. It gave me my confidence back. And as I go out, and I've traveled all over talking to people about, resilience and, trauma focused journaling and, understanding and knowing your worth and all of these different things, and advocating for homeless women, veteran, all over the place. And then I realized, well, I'm no Jasmine Crockett. I can't just jump out there in mainstream political world and just do things. I have to first start with my community, just like I did with pageantry. Women veterans are my community. Veterans are my community. And I started right home at home with my home base. So this is no different. I've lived in the city of Garden Ridge for 4 or 5 years now, probably closer to 5 to 6 years. And it's just such a beautiful community. People, you may not know your neighbor's name, but you know their faces, you know the cars they drive. And this is a kind of community where if you're out of town, somebody's looking out for you. And I can appreciate that. The other thing was, there's a lot of military community here. And, if I'm already advocating for our veterans, whether they're male or female, then why not start here? And as a grassroots leader, that's where it starts, is at home. And so if I ever do want to do something bigger than what I'm doing now, I need to be able to say that I started at home and I built from the inside out.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. That is powerful.
Thank you.
Good answer. How have you been out in the homeless community? I mean, how did you get involved with working with homeless veterans specifically? Was it something that hits close to home, or?
So as a youth, so I come from a military family, and there was a time in my youth where my family was homeless, and we lived in a couple different shelters before we got back up on our feet. And growing up there was also a park that I used to go to with my brother, and we would see the veterans down there, and we knew that they were veterans because they wore the old fatigues, the old pickle fatigues and there's this one gentleman that comes to mind, and he used to carry the wool blanket folded up over his shoulder. And he was barefoot. And I used to always look at his feet and be like, man, that guy just needs some shoes. Like, it must be awful to walk on his feet. And like, this guy had me so intrigued. I mean, he used to use a magnifying glass, and he had this perfectly cut piece of rectangular cardboard that he always had. And one day, a soccer ball got kicked out into the field, and he was out there with his magnifying glass. And what I realized he was doing, he was actually using the magnifying glass to burn the bee that landed on the flower. And then he'd pull out the stinger and he'd eat them. And I was just like, that's got to be an awful life to live if that's the way that you're getting your protein. And this is somebody that served our country. And so a combination of all of those things coupled with, when I was getting out, when I was transitioning, I got involved with an organization, the Arthritis Foundation, and some people with arthritis or fibromyalgia or lupus that have the chronic disorders often find it hard to maintain stable employment, and so it leads to the fact that they're homeless. So then when I dived into competing with Miss Veteran America, all the numbers and all the statistics started to come into play, and I started understanding the role of all these different contributing factors, and I was absolutely blown away. And so that's where I started. And yes, I've been out in our homeless community. There is churches under the bridge that provides meals to the homeless a few nights a week. I volunteered with different organizations such as Motivated for Success that works with Crosspoint Ministries and Casa Mia, and they have Crosspoint Ministries has a male veteran section, and Casa Mia has a female veteran section, and I'm able to go in there and do talks and bring hygiene kits, and it's a collaboration of different organizations. So San Antonio, Texas has a very, very big homeless population. Unfortunately, over the last several years, they realized that although they do a homeless census in the state of Texas, they were not capturing the numbers of our veterans that are homeless. So they didn't have a picture of how many homeless veterans that we actually had. They were just going off of kind of the national average and the percentage of people that Texas has in comparison to the rest of the United States. So now we see that they are tracking the homeless veterans. But when I had sat down with, I spoke with a representative from Donna Campbell's office, what they didn't have was a snapshot of what homeless women veterans look like, and why the need for homeless women veterans is different from those of a male veteran. So those are the kind of things that I've been able to dive into and start gaining an understanding of.
And that's
Some of those
amazing.
are
Back there. I'm sorry, Pacifica, what were you saying?
No, I mean, that's all very intense, and I'm glad you mentioned the differences between male and female, especially when she's got kids in tow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually something I wanted to touch on as well. And especially with women veterans that are facing homelessness, a lot of times they have a lot of issues with getting like housing for more people than just themselves. And if you say, for example, they're couch surfing on their friend's couch because the hood housing, the locks don't work right, they don't feel safe, especially after MST or something like that, with so many males. That the VA does not deem them as homeless. So unfortunately, I think Krendra's very right that there's a lot that's getting kind of swept into the cracks that are very important, that is discussed a lot more and more openly. And I was looking at some surveys, and it's interesting that you had mentioned that they were actually capturing the information incorrectly, because as I understand it, like they do the counts for the hood housing in the evenings, and some people leave in the evenings as well. So, I can absolutely see how things would be missed and not captured, especially with the women veterans.
Right. So one of the other things that they realized this last year, I believe it was, is that there are some of our homeless community out there that are veterans that don't want to self-identify as veterans. And trying to understand why they don't want to identify as veterans, we're not quite sure. Do they not want the resources? Maybe they're ashamed of a bad or dishonorable discharge. We don't quite know why some people still don't want to declare as a veteran. And hopefully through podcasts like this, briefings with Texas Vet Commission, Combined Arms Training Center, all those different organizations that are out there, Women Veterans Calendar, there's so many organizations here in the Texas community that are doing such great work. It's making sure that they know that the resources are out there, whether they got a bad conduct discharge or a good conduct discharge. They deserve better than being out on the streets.
Yeah. So Kim has a very good point. So a lot feel abandoned by their branch. So I definitely understand that. I didn't identify as a veteran until I ran for Miss Veteran America. Like my daughter didn't even know. Like I kept it a secret. She had no idea. She's like, what? Like her whole world, like, she just really didn't know, but I was deeply ashamed of it. And I did not identify for over a decade. With the homeless statistics, there's what I thought was interesting as well is that they're saying that there's been a slight decrease. So there's approximately like 33,000 homeless veterans in California. They supposedly the highest facing homelessness for their state. But I don't know if that's accurate now. But what I thought was really interesting is approximately 1.5 million veterans are considered at risk of homelessness.
Right.
And so that's what the number that jumped out at me that I was looking at is that, I wish and I hope to see more organizations doing more to prevent like those at-risk veterans from going from that to fully homeless. And they say that like a solid amount is like 50% or something like that of the average taxpayer, they're like one check away from being homeless. So, I mean, it really doesn't take a lot for people. And some people, they run on very, very small margins.
Right.
Understandably.
What you said, I'm going to run that back about the veterans that are, one step away. Those are the type of classes that need to be in transition class. Those are the type of classes, financial classes that more organizations need to be putting out there. I know Final Salute does theirs. I know that Circle Arms has some sort of financial literacy class. I know that they are out there. However, some people don't know that they are at risk of homelessness or at risk of poverty because some people don't know what they don't know.
Oh, yeah.
When you're living in survival mode, that's exactly where you are. As long as you're making it right now, you're making it. And so if we can get to those people before, we are in a reactive phase in the United States when it comes to our veterans. We are so far away from being proactive that it just really kind of stinks. And if somehow we could do better with organizational registries and collaboration, it might help some.
Oh, absolutely. And there are definitely more organizations that are even adding veteran homelessness as like something that they can help with support. Like, for example, Semper Fi Fund or Semper Fi Foundation, like they do quite a bit for veterans in like emergent situations. Like some veterans, especially women veterans that find themselves homeless, like it can be for a variety of reasons. It could be domestic violence related. It could be something that, is
chronic
like
illness.
Yep. And mental health issues. It could be just, like they lost a job, something happened, and there's a lot, it's so multifaceted in the reasons that could really have you there. And so I really hope that we eventually create like a giant veteran database of organizations. And if you typed it in, you could get like matched to multiple organizations at one time, because unfortunately with nonprofits, and something that I hope that changes, and I'm trying to support that change, is there's some gatekeeping that does happen sometimes. And it's important that we're working together more to get that information out there more.
Right. I wonder at some point, how people can dial 211, 988, maybe one day there will be a veteran resource number, dial 1212, and it'll take you to national or state resources for veterans. Yeah. So maybe if somebody's out there listening, good idea, Fairy just came up with it. Maybe we can try it.
I think you'd be the good idea. Fairy.
Or maybe we collaborate and make it happen.
By their rules now, Fairy, maybe that'd be what I'd want. But no, absolutely.
Well, let me ask.
Go ahead. Oh, I think
I was so curious. Yeah, I was just going to ask real quick, like, how can we support what you're doing? How can we support in this veteran community? How can we continue to provide that, or what does that look like in your space and for what you're doing?
What I would say is when you have the time, there are so many there are so many resources out there. Like I said, there's the churches under the bridge. There's all kinds of organizations that are out there feeding the homeless. Continue to donate to organizations, nonprofits that are legitimately pouring their funds back into being transparent with their funds and pouring them back into other nonprofits that are doing the physical hands-on work. Donating yourself, your time, your talents to those different services, and just using your voice, posting the resources as you get them. Those kind of things, attending the women's veterans events, attending veterans events, those, just being in attendance, buying a ticket and doing those things always, always, always are a help.
Yeah. Awesome. And I did get a comment when you were speaking. I did want to read it because it's a lot. So it says the VA isn't easy to work with when you have disabilities, but the homeless agencies in many communities also fail to work with disabled vets. Personal experience was told that discharged disabled and return home community that due to my disabilities, I wasn't actually allowed to stay in a homeless shelter for safety reasons. They said that they couldn't guarantee my safety. 12 years of service, I think I'm good unless things get very real, very fast. Took me starting my own business.
Yeah.
So,
And again, so when when we think about, first, let's start with our at-risk veterans. At-risk veterans don't know what they don't know until they're in that situation sometimes. And so it can be challenging once you know that you're one breath away from poverty or homelessness. The stress gets real. And stress can exacerbate different illnesses, whether it's chronic pain, whether it's mental health. And then sometimes we become overwhelmed and it's hard to get to those resources, or we don't always appear to be put together enough. I know, and I felt that, like, when I first got out, I would try and talk to my doctors about what was going on, and it just seemed like I was like, am I not articulate enough? Am I not speaking good enough English? Why doesn't anybody understand what I'm telling them? And it was so frustrating. And I would get the same response. It's all in your head, or you're just not trying hard enough. The resources are out there. You just have to go look for them. Well, when somebody's in that red area, that's what we need more veteran advocates for. That's what we need more ombudsmen for. That's why, I don't know if people know it, but VA has them. VA has ombudsmen. VA has patient advocates. And yes, people like to use the term interchangeably, but they're not. They're different. They serve different purposes. And unfortunately, once people hit that chaos level of chaos, the slippery slope, it's hard to get to those resources, and it's hard to. I found myself at a level of frustration where every time somebody would ask me a question, I'd be like, oh my God, I've answered this 50 times. And I'd be so angry and so frustrated that it made communication that much harder. One of the things I did, which was not safe, and I don't recommend it to anybody, I would do things differently now, was I walked away from medicine. I felt so broken and so disheartened that I had spent my career. I went into the military at 17, that I had given up so much of my career to military medicine to get out, to feel like I was something underneath the bottom of someone's shoe. Like, I spent my life articulating people's illnesses and pains and signs and symptoms and all the things. And then when it was my turn, nobody understood the language that was coming out of my mouth. So I understand that level of frustration. And what I did was I walked away from medicine for a while. And at the time, I rationalized it as for my mental health. If they keep telling me it's all in my head, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to go get my head right. My headspace and timing need to be adjusted. And so I walked away, and I didn't go to the VA or TRICARE or any means of healthcare for over 2 years. And what I did in that time of 2 years was not just nothing. I didn't just, hang out and be in pain or despair. I started doing research on my illnesses. I started doing research on different organizations, and that's how I ended up finding the National Arthritis Foundation. And I, sometimes it takes meeting the right person. I met a wonderful soul who's no longer with us. Her name was Angie Billingsley, and she had spoken at the Fisher House, and they were looking for board members, people that had lived experience with arthritis. And they categorized fibromyalgia under the arthritis category. And so when I sat down and I started talking to her, and I just started combing through the resources that they had, it started to help me calm down some. It helped me to start putting things in perspective and order. It gave me an opportunity to start recognizing things that were happening with me so that I can find out things that worked for me to help get out of that situation. Would I recommend somebody to not go to VA and not get, regular visits? No, I wouldn't. I would have advocated for myself better and got a new provider, or gone outside and gone to community care or something like that. But at some point, the reducing the stress of our homelessness, or those that are one step away from it, helping them reduce their stress by providing information so that they can make the best informed decisions for themselves, is some of the most important things that we can do for them.
Absolutely, sis. Very well said. And, I challenge everybody listening. I know I can drone on and people probably get annoyed. However, I challenge everybody listening to be your own best advocate, even as an experiment, if it's not what you're doing now. But just do it for just this year. Make it a resolution. For me, the first year I tried doing that, I wanted to go from 90 to 100. And so every week I'd be at Texas Veterans Commission, like clockwork, like filing everything, doing things, doing things I had put off for far too long. And so I'm going to say it now: request your C file, everybody. Request
your C file. That's right. And for those that don't know what your C file is, it's your claims file, your disability claims file.
Yep. But be your own best advocate this year. You do the one thing that you've been putting off, for a long time, that would help you and help keep you going. That's just my thoughts. But so Krendra, what advice would you give to another veteran considering, competing for a competition or running for office?
I would say, first and foremost, if that's something that you want to do, plan it out, and then jump 2 feet into it. Have a plan, and do your research, because there are a lot of pageants out there. We'll start with pageantry. There are a lot of pageants out there, and every pageant system, think of pageant systems like shoes. Just because you wear a size 8 in Adidas doesn't mean that size 8 is going to translate to Nikes or Converse or New Balance. Find the right fit for you. Every pageant system that has their own platform, maybe that platform is not your platform just because you like how their stage looks. Maybe do your research. There's something for everybody out there. And just remember that pageantry is about the sisterhood. So what you put into it is what you're going to get back. As far as running for office, do your research. Make sure you know where you stand. Lived experiences can be turned into initiatives. Find your heart's passion and go for it. Don't let anybody stop you. But what I would say is find somebody that's done it before and has done it well, and that can be your mentor, because trust me, in both pageantry and running for office as an elected official, you always need somebody that you can lean on to help keep you balanced, because I'd like to say that everything is, unicorns and rainbows, but there's some toxicity out there. And sometimes you just need to balance whether I'm going to be petty Betty with cheerful Susie. So, there's balance in there. And having somebody that you can lean on and talk to and mentor you through it is a huge thing. And I'm blessed that I have that in both realms.
Nice. That's it definitely takes a village to run for any sort of competition, especially a big one. It takes a lot of energy.
It does.
It's makes me tired thinking about it, actually. And speaking of sisterhood, so this amazing advocate, like I'm always like the person that goes to events. And there's like one thing that like I've neglected, like lipstick on my teeth sometimes because I can't feel part of my lip or something. But she's always the one, like, let me fix this, or she taught me the importance because if you have like a larger décolletage, yeah, that's what I'll say. It's a lot more of a challenge to wear a sash, which I did not realize because the Miss Veteran America ones were way smaller.
Right.
But like those big satin sashes, like it fights it, like, man. And like she taught me the importance of like a Tide pen because I swear it's like a magnet for stains. Like I'm literally eating like this, like I look weird, and then like somehow it escapes and like right in the middle. Or like the last time I think I got lipstick on it because I was getting a massage and my face may or may not have hit the sash. Repeatedly for once.
What? I don't want to know.
But it was like they were doing like free massages at the Denim and Diamonds luncheon, and like you could just sit in like a chair, and I guess I got a little too relaxed trying to get her to get my seat too. Yeah, good times. But yeah, but that's why it's really appreciated, and you meet a lot of ladies that you would never have met otherwise, and some of you like like be like your friends, like you're kind of like bonded over this shared experience for a while, and it's definitely interesting to do.
It is. It's finding your tribe, because after service, a lot of us miss that camaraderie. And so pageantry is unexpected because I was not a cheerleader in high school. I was none of those things. I was a jock. I did all my sports. I went home. I did JROTC. This was not in the forecast for me. So unexpected things will happen in transition, and sometimes you just go with it. It'll take you right to the next place.
Yep. I was a cheerleader that liked to listen to Slayer, and would like run off the bus after a game, like glitter trailing behind me, like to work an overnight shift at a diner. Like I was not the normal one. But
why is that so easy for me to picture?
I don't know how I didn't get abducted a few times with the truck stop, man. Because you see all the guys like on the window, like, I didn't know time to change, so I'd literally be like, I'd go run into my uniform and then like change into my like waitressing uniform, which was like pants. So yeah. Anyways, good times. But it is time for a knowledge drop.
So today, because it came up in conversation, so I'm going to share some information, and a lot of us may know it, but some of us may not. Recently, a veteran who does use the VA system shared with me that they were not aware that we had access to urgent care. So I want to share with everyone, as a veteran, as long as you've been seen, I think it's within the last 24 months at your local VA, you have access to up to 3 times a year where you can see urgent care without former approval from the VA. Here's the kicker. When you go, you need to get your documentation. You need to bring your VA ID. You need to let them know that you're a veteran, that you have, services through the VA. And then you need to call your VA. You need to call your community care line for the VA, or find the main number. If you can't go through straight to the community care, find the main number, and you need to let them know, I need to report that I attended an urgent care visit. I need to record that I have an urgent care visit on file. This is when I went. Do that within 72 hours. I would advise 24, but the max is 72. Otherwise, it is on you as a veteran to pay for that. If you're not reporting it to the VA, you have to report it for them to be able to provide the payment and take care of that. But you are allowed access to up to 3 urgent care visits a year. So if there's something going on, you're got the flu or you've got COVID again, or something's coming out, you can utilize that if it's not an emergent situation where you would need to go to the ER. So I just want to make you aware, and thank you for tuning in for today's show and this knowledge drop, and back to y'all.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll just do some final thoughts and we'll wrap up for tonight. I know we did run a little over, but I love having Krendra on, so we're definitely very thankful to have you on once again, sis.
Thank
So
you.
we will start with you. So what are your final thoughts for tonight that you'd like our viewers to take with them?
Final thoughts. Life is not a race, it is a marathon. And I would say this, that transition in your time, your transition is your journey. Take your time to relearn who you are, what you need, and the expectations that you have for yourself. And while doing that, remember the world is going through enough chaos on its own. Remember, it's free to be kind.
And Miss Amelia, what about you?
You're gonna put me after Kendra?
I know,
Man,
right? I was like,
yes.
what in the
So,
world?
well, like, how can I follow
How
that? Because I'm over here taking notes. I'm like,
Go ahead, Amelia.
what? Okay, so
Because it's
I
like,
will just share this. One of the things that you said tonight, Kendra, that really resonated with me and where I'm at in my life is that lived experiences turn into initiatives. And so I just want to thank you for that, because that gives me hope and empowerment for where I'm moving. And so, or where like life is taking us. And so I'm very thankful for you sharing your insights and your wisdom, because that's really key. Like, especially having a mentor, having someone to tell you like what to expect, that is so huge. And so thank you for sharing your experiences and your journey with us tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All I can say is solid, and it's the reason why you're a winner, because of your poise and just the way you face adversity and challenges in your life. I can already tell that um when you're picking a winner, like if you're a gambler, I guess, like, yeah,
you think people are going to pass out during commander's call, like formations?
no,
And
not the
that's
slippery
pretty fun,
fish.
actually.
Like she is gonna win, like,
Yeah.
no matter what, like,
Yes.
no, so and so has the odds, no, she's my girl,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. You exude confidence in your smile, and even the way your shoulders, your neck, your head, I mean, you have the posture, and you just don't make us look weak, and I love it. So
Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
thank you.
she has excellent posture, and considering how big her crowns are, like, God,
Well, yeah, your neck. If you hold,
that is a skill.
you'll hurt your neck if you're not careful.
I was always wondering about that. I'm like, does your neck hurt at the end of the day, or is it?
I'm
Some
sure
of the crowns are heavy. Some of them are heavy. But it's I do a lot of sharing my crown. I let others hold it and take pictures or put it on them, because we're all
Yeah.
queens. We're all queens. Might as well share it.
Absolutely. And thank you for coming on and being our guest. I guess my final thought for tonight would be, even if you fall on your face, you are still moving forward. And
That's right.
That's what I'm going to go with. And also, if anybody is interested in supporting a piece of literal herstory, May turns 100 in Women's Herstory Month. Well, it's history, but that's what I'm calling it. And we are it's still available on Amazon, so we can do it. Or if you type in May's name, it will come up, and it is a children's book with illustrations about May's life and adventures as a Rosie the Riveter, and the proceeds do go directly back to Black Dagger Military Hunt Club, which helps Gold Star moms and their families, and also the Women's World War II Memorial Foundation. And that is something that I definitely want to try to sell as many books as possible, because that's a lot of books to equal $14 million in 5 years. So, and we're very proud of Raya, and I hope that she continues to kick butt and take names. And we appreciate having you on, sis. Like, it's a rare treat to have people that have formally competed with for Miss Veteran America, and I think you're the only calendar model that, well, besides Carolina, I guess. Yeah, there's only 2 that we've ever had on, so it's definitely a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Well, everybody, we are Yes, I Am the Veteran. Have a good night, and take us away, Aurelia.
Hi, I'm Aurelia. Just a reminder, smash like, hit subscribe, and click the bell. Please give me my